I was working in the lab late one night, and my eyes beheld an eerie sight. A game supplement. Stick around, we'll talk about it. Old Man Grognard here, and today we're going to be talking about the Herbalism and Alchemy supplement for gold and glory. But it's good for any OSR game, as you know, all the way down the line. Now, the complete title of this supplement is The Adventurer's Guide to the Practical Application of Herbalism and Alchemy, a supplement for gold and glory. And it's by Moses Wildermuth, Dan Hyland, Chris Knowles, and John Graboff. This was published in 2015. It's about 98 pages, and this is what it looks like right there. Perfect. This one's perfect bound. You can also get it spiral bound, but I'll tell you about that later. Now, I don't know much about herbalism and alchemy, but I can learn. Now, this supplement, I'm going to say, is going to be rather divisive, although let me say right at the start, I like this supplement. I do. It made me think of things that I never thought of. I don't know what's wrong with me. It must be late at night. It's going to be kind of divisive. It's got a lot of, I'm not going to say a lot of fluff, but a lot of things to think about. It's all about herbalism and alchemy in a fantasy genre RPG, or any other RPG, I guess. It's not something I usually think about, although I always have the thought that all people who deal with like wizardly magic are partly herbalists or alchemists. But anyway, going on. This book is 98 pages. Let me show you what it looks like. All the artwork is in the public domain, as they're wont. It took me a while to get used to this, but I'll explain that to you in a bit. It talks about, again, herbalism and alchemy, herbal remedies and substances, non-human and other formulations. Also talks about, on the alchemy side, about libraries, setting up laboratories and libraries, other substances that you can come up with, other races' substances. This is one of my favorite, Orcish Goopy Goo. And it's basically a contact poison that causes paralysis. Basically, you get hit with it and you can't move for X amount of turns. Orcs use this for slaves and other minions that they don't want to kill, but they don't want to, they got to subdue somehow. I like that. Some of this stuff is going into my campaign. They've got some gnomish snuff there and other things like that. And it talks about how to make this stuff too. It does go into some detail about that. Now, it also gives you things like, things you can make, things that alchemists and herbalists can make, mostly alchemists. Things like weapon black, tanglefoot bags. They have something called cat stink that thieves use to throw off dogs' scents. Things like that. They also offer a couple of kits, the Alchemist Wizard, the Alchemist Herbalist, and the I think it's the Grand Alchemist. I'm probably getting these wrong, but the book, you'll see them in the book. They're nice little kits. I don't really think of them as kits so much as they're just, they can, these guys, these specialists can do this. And a lot of this has to do with a combination of alchemy, herbalism, and wizardry. Even priests, it has to do with priestly. Even priests can get into the act on this. It's just got a lot of, I want to say crunch. It doesn't have, it's got stats, yeah. It'll tell you what does, but you kind of got to dig a little because they want to tell you all about it, and boy, do they. Here's some more. Here's about Greek fire. They also have a chapter on Greek fire and Greek fire with siege engines, a la burning oil. and they're down with this is how to make Greek fire. And everything they give you, every little thing, they'll tell you what the ingredients are, the active ingredients are, whether it's fantastic or mundane, they'll tell you that, which is kind of nice. And one of my favorite chapters, I know it won't be a lot of people's, but smoke powder. Variation on black powder. And it shows you the ingredients and how to make those. It also goes on like, hand cannons, bombards, cannons, you name it. It also gets in the chapter of rockets and rocket launchers, as in, I'm not talking about modern day, but I'm talking about like Chinese. Either they use them for entertainment or they use them for, weapons. So you can do it either way. It's smoke powder. It's the predecessor to gunpowder, basically. They also talk about making artificial life in the last chapter. And it comes in two flavors. You can create a homunculus or an automaton. Now, that really appeals to my steampunk sensibilities as far as automatons go. But homunculuses, it's interesting. They get a few variations on there. Some are good at brawling. Some are good at sneaking around. Some are good just being an assistant, or a flunky. Automatons, they're kind of clunky, but they're made that way because they kind of like belie their quickness and their ruthlessness, as they say. Now, I understand why they're doing that. They're saying that because a lot of these are automatons are basically clockwork golems that you can put in like a dungeon and just leave them there to protect something. The classic, there's two statues there that look, they're kind of worn out and stuff, and you try and go into the treasure vault, you move this stone, and all of a sudden they become to life and they start attacking you. That's an automaton right there. And it's a combination of clockwork and magic. Mechanics and magic. I'd even throw some steam in there. What the hell? This book really got me thinking about stuff. Not so much, it's nice to know all this. This is kind of like, part of it is kind of like, when I went into it, I thought, oh, this is like those chapters on how they tell you how to make magic items and stuff in D&D. And it's like, yeah, okay, I know I'm a DM, but, But then I started reading it, and I really started to get ideas because my philosophy is, I don't know if I've ever said this, but my philosophy is you can get something out of any game book, no matter what. And I got a lot of thinking out of this game book, which is what I like. Now, and I really think it's worth the trouble to go find and buy. It's a good book. It really is. And it is readable. I mean, I showed you. Okay, here's the two strikes I have against it. One, page numbers. Lose the Roman numerals, guys. It don't work for me. I mean, I can hash it out pretty much. This is page XXXV, which is page 35. Okay, fine. But then I'm going along, if I want to find something, it's like, LXXVII. After a while, it gets kind of old. And it doesn't facilitate finding something fast. And number two, I love the public domain art. I love the way, I kind of like the way it's laid out. It's not exactly intuitive, but it's like, it's not as intuitive as like, say, For Golden Glory. Okay, For Golden Glory. It's not as intuitive as For Golden Glory. We just keep boom, 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 boom. But at the same time, I feel like you're holding my hand, taking me through it, giving it continue next page and all this other stuff. But I would seriously consider like cutting in half the art and giving a little more traditional layout just to make it a little easier to read. There's a lot of people who are just going to go glance at this and go, oh God, it's a picture book, and then throw it aside. It's more than that, and I want it to. I want people to see this. It's a good thing. That's my only two caveats on it. Other than that, it's a great book. Okay, where to find it? All right. You can find it at Drive-Thru RPG or RPG Now, or on Lulu. Now, it's by God Emperor Games. On RPG Now and Drive-Thru RPG, you can get the PDF for $5. Okay, you can get a black and white soft cover for $12.99, and you can get both for $17.99. Look for sales, because when I quote a price, I've told you before, when I quote a price on here, that's the standard price. There may be sales. There's always sales. I don't want to, because these videos will be watched long time after this. So, you know, I don't want to say, hey, it's $7.99 and it's $12.99 be it normally, but you know, I don't want to do that. So it's like a $5, $12.99, $7.99 on Lulu. They only have the print version, but they do have a sample version for free. I think it gives you like a few pages out of it if you want to check it out first. Personally, I don't see why you wouldn't pop the $5 and get it from Drive-Thru. But Lulu also has the print versions. They do it perfect bound like this for $12.99 or $14.99 if you want a ring bound version, which means it lays flat, which is nice. And that is the Herbalism and Alchemy guide for Golden Glory. And if you want to talk about it, if you want to tell me about it, I'd be glad to listen. All you have to do is drop me an email at oldmangrognard@gmail.com. Go out, buy this book. It really is worth the money. It'll really get you thinking. If you got players who like to, you know, mix it up like this, I mean, there's stuff in here I'm going to put in my game, for real. For real. There's a lot of potions, and I'm starting to think more along that line, because that's more, you know, that's more game fodder. That's more adventure plot fodder to me. So go out, find this book, and check it out, and tell me about it, oldmangrognard@gmail.com, as I said before. And until next time, bye-bye.